Okay. Right, should be live, should be working. There we go, everything's turned off on there, so I've got the chat up. And hopefully the microphone's plugged in. Right, tired. It's not actually been a long day, or it has been a long day. We got there we went to Salute today. I think we left about 8 o'clock this morning. So we didn't get there till about 10:15 or something like that. It wasn't, we didn't get there for the queue, so we literally just walked in. All the queue had gone, and it was fine to get in, to be honest. Rachel didn't go in the end, and Liam came with us instead. So it was myself and Phil, and Dave Cherry, and Liam, and Jack, Phil's son, came with us as well. So there was 5 of us. We all came in the car, and we just wanted to have a look around. We didn't take any videos. We didn't do any interviews this year. We just wanted to turn up and have a look around and just check out all of the stands, because last year we did interviews and things and we didn't really have a good look around. So this year we wanted to do something different. We saw a bunch of you as well, so thanks to everybody who came over and said hello to myself and Phil and had a chat. It's really, really nice. I'll go through some of the stuff that we saw today at the Salute. Some of the stuff that I picked up as well. I didn't buy a whole lot of stuff, just a couple of bits, but I wanted to show them off because I've not seen the products before, not all of them anyway. And I'll probably talk about the new army which I'm starting for Age of Sigmar, because it's pretty exciting. For me it is anyway. I've got a really cool idea. I haven't worked out the fluff, the background that I want to go with yet for the army that I've chosen, but I like the idea of it. And yeah, it's going to be a pretty relaxed one. And then after this I'll probably go and have some food and get an early night. So we'll go through the chat. I don't think there's a whole load of people here tonight. I've done it a little bit early just because we got back. And I thought I may as well get it done at 7:30. Get online. So Chilling Wargamers, they've set up their new account obviously on YouTube. So if you're not already subscribed to them, go on to Chilling Wargamers and subscribe to the channel, because they're doing their regular shows again soon, in line with ChillCon as well, because obviously the convention is going to be, they're going to be doing a lot every single year now. Marty Milligan's there as always. Thank you, Marty, for showing up and saying hello. Ralph as well. Had to go because dinner will be served or have to be prepared. All is Dust and Kablams, welcome to both of you. 12 Neef, happy Saturday to everybody indeed. Big Rich, Onslaught, did not see you guys. Absolutely, we were very stealthy. We kind of sneaked around everywhere. There was a lot to look at, to be honest, and it was difficult to get into some of the stands because it was so busy. There's so many people there, so we didn't actually get to see a lot of it. I wanted to look more into the Bushido miniature line, and it's a very nice stand, but everyone's crowded around it because the models were really nice, and that was the same for a lot of the stands really. The bits you wanted to look at were always surrounded by people, so you had to kind of dash in, pick up what you wanted and dash out basically. Obviously you got to pay, you can't just dash out without paying because that's thieving, but it wasn't easy to browse things, I didn't think. Rower, welcome Rower. Ian as well, welcome Ian. If it was the same Ian, I think it was the same Ian we saw today. Yeah, I bought Blood Red Skies. You were talking about that, weren't you, Ian? We were talking about X-Wing after we were chatting to you, and I looked at some of the ships for X-Wing and almost bought some stuff. Didn't, but I almost did. Umar Bashir, welcome. Reaper 28 Grim, where you at? Yeah, where is Reaper? Reaper only shows up for Phil because Reaper is Phil's favourite Reaper. Marty, I would love to visit one of these big shows. It's worth going. It was very busy, and the show is good. It's definitely worth going. I don't know whether we'll go next year. We'll have to see closer to the time. What I was saying to Phil was, if you're going, for me, I'm playing Warhammer 40k and Age of Sigmar, so I'm really looking at what products I can use. So what paints, what paintbrushes, what materials and things like that are worth picking up from the show. So that's what I'm looking at, and there's a decent selection there, but a lot of it was the same. So there was different shops that were selling the same product lines, and like there's a lot of Vallejo there. There was only one shop which was selling scale 75, and they only had so many of the sets, and we had a look around. We saw the ones we wanted, because I said I wanted the silver metal set, the gold set, and the Intensity set. That's the 3 ones that I wanted from scale 75, and Phil wanted one of the Intensity ones. So we found them, and they literally had enough for me and Phil, and I was like, well, they're still £22 each per set, so it was going to be like 88 quid. And I said, let's just have a look around, we'll see if surely somebody else is going to have them. And we went around the entire thing and nobody sold them other than the first lot. We went back and they'd sold out, so it's just our luck, but we'll have to order them online. So it's not the end of the world that we'll be able to pick them up for that price online, but it's a little bit frustrating. But no, there was some really cool stuff. If you're going to look at new games, especially if you're like into historical, or you're after some monsters or some fantasy lines or any sort of miniature range to use in a game system, then there's tons of stuff. So if you're just playing Age of Sigmar or 40k and you want to, I'm just going to say hello to Chapter Master Valrak actually, and Martin Dix. Martin, thank you very much for the bits. They arrived today, and Phil is with Jack going through the stuff to see what he's going to put into his list, but they have arrived. I wanted to say that. Chapter Master Valrak, hello from Florida. I hope you're having a good time. You shouldn't really be on the internet, Valrak. Get off and go and spend time with your family. But hello, and enjoy your holiday. I don't know where I was now. Oh yeah, miniatures. There's so many nice miniature ranges. In this book, they give you this salute book. I was just having a flick through because it's not got all of the stuff in there. But let me find... Now this range I've never seen before. These are called Atlantis miniatures. And those dwarves, they're for 10 of these dwarves, there's like a female dwarven range. There's different ranges that they do, different squads, but they're like £40 for 10 models. So they're not as cheap as some ranges, but the quality is really, really good. So if you wanted some quality dwarven models made in high, quality resin, check out the Atlantis miniatures. Don't know whether that discount code works, but if it does, then try it. If it works online, it might not. Awesome quality stuff. And there was loads of things there that were really good. We found a game called Spectre. So if you wanted modern combat models, they've actually got 4 of the world leaders. So current world leaders. So you've got a Donald Trump. What do you call it? You got of the 4 leaders, 4 world leaders at the moment that they've made sculpts of, and a bunch of different teams like the SAS and the SWAT teams and all of that sort of stuff. So they've got some really nice models, and the guy who does them sculpted them all himself from green stuff as well. So they're really nice, unique sculpts with a lot of character to them. So they were quite cool to see. Mace miniatures. If type that into Google, Mace miniatures, they're equivalent to the Forge World monsters. They're a decent price. So if you think about Forge World, they're probably cheaper than Forge World, but they're not. Some of them are like between £50 and £150, but they're huge models. There's some amazing giants. There's an amazing stone golem. I don't know what the name is for it, but it's almost like it's a stone golem, but it looks cool, and I prefer it to the Forge World one massively. It has all this like undergrowth and moss which is binding all of the rocks together, and it doesn't look like there's just 3 rocks piled on top of each other and then carved some eyes into it. So if I was going to be buying something for my Iron Jaws, I'd probably go for that one instead. Crazy Hippo, they were a Kickstarter a while ago, weren't those doors? Possibly, I haven't seen them, but Ralph seems to think they were, so most likely. Big Mac Dan School, welcome Big Mac Dan School. Chapter Master Varric be back home in a few days. Oh, Ian, love the World War... Oh, here we go. Right, let me just go back up quickly. Ian saying the World War I tank. Yeah, that was really cool to see I think it was to scale, a properly sized World War I tank. Where was I up to? Oh, Crazy Hippo saying evening or finally getting to catch a live show for ages. Awesome. So yeah, Spectre. Who else was good? There was some really nice models. I'm trying to think of them all. I've got little flyers for a lot of them. I just filled my pockets with business cards and things because I can't remember. Obviously, I've forgot them all already. But it would jog my memory just by going through. Oh, they were nice. High-tech miniatures. These have got like Primark equivalent, if you want some heresy style models which are done by a third party, high-tech miniatures, they're worth checking out. Did you check Briscar's from TGCM out? I think so. I don't know, was it this one? I don't know if we picked something up for it or not. It was so busy, and a lot of, I think they may have been near the front of the Salute stand, and it was packed. If it's the one I'm thinking of, we couldn't even get close to it, so they obviously were doing pretty well. But if it's the one I'm thinking of, they had like these fantasy, it was a fantasy range with, I can't remember now, they had a fantasy range anyway, there was loads of stuff for that. Dungeon scenery, that was quite cool, and Patrick's dropped some dungeon scenery off. Not from them, but from a company that he saw. Oh, here we go, here's Spectre. They're quite neat. See you later, Martin. Coleman's here as well, welcome Coleman. They're cool, little clown villain dudes. But that's a nice little skirmish game between 4 and 40 plus miniatures you can have per side. So you can really do it as a very small skirmish game and scale it up if you want to. And it's like modern, current warfare sort of thing. What else we got? Star Trek Adventures. There's just tons of stuff. If you want to go to Sloot to see miniatures, there's just loads. There's tons of stuff to look at. In terms of... what did I pick up then? So 2 things I've not seen before, and it's probably because I haven't properly looked into the range. You know, I've always used a lot of AK Interactive products. I love the washers, the... what is it called? My favourite wash. Summer Curse Girth for doing bases. It's amazing. I was going to go back and pick up one called Damp Earth, because for this new army I'm doing swamp bases, and there's going to be bits of twigs sticking out of some of the bases if I can make it work. And I bought this product called Water Gel Swamp Green. This is from AK Interactive. And you could probably get the same effect with, what's it called, Nurgle's Rot. But I figured this was a fairly easy way to achieve it. Oh, we saw Tabletop War James around the AK Interactive stand, or West Barks Gaming James. Did you get a chance to check out the Forlight game from Modifius? We had a quick look, but they didn't have a huge stand there this time. This is what this Star Trek Adventures was as well. So they got the Fallout 32mm, and Star Trek. We kind of whizzed around. Oh, Wild West Exodus, Ian, was really cool. I love Wild West Exodus models. They're brilliant quality. Oh, look at that. The green screen's picking up. Okay, so Water Gel Swamp Green. It's not really showing up very well, but it's like a swampy green colour. There we go. That bottom picture there. So it's like a still swamp colour. That's what I'll be using on the basin areas. And I also found this wet crackle effects paint. So this is another AK Interactive one. But you know, like a dried up lake sort of thing. Because it's like a swamp, I figured there's going to be some water left over. But I don't want it to be like a proper dry, arid desert sort of cracked earth. So I'm going to go for this effect. And that is just called wet crackle effects. So I'm going to try that out. So I've got Water Gel and I've got wet crackle effects. There's tons of different paints and products that AK Interactive do, and probably loads of companies, but I literally, this was 20 quid, so these are 10 quid a pot, and I figured I'll try them out first, and then if I need more I can always get some more bits later on down the line. I also picked up, so I'm doing my, if anybody's paid attention to anything on the Facebook page, I've started converting this guy up. So this is a Custodes bike, which I've chopped up. I need to do green stuff to file this down, but I've taken off the eagles, so it's more of a technical looking bike rather than an elegant Emperor Custodes bike. And it was a bit of a mission, but I managed to get a Primaris marine body, arm, you know, backpack and all of that to work on here instead. And I'm doing a White Scar bike, and depending on how it goes, I'm going to do more of them. Oh, we'll talk about laser cut terrain, Scott. Yes, I will, Marty. I'll definitely do some videos of them for testing them out, because Patrick and me are doing the doubles tournament and he's going to be doing the same bases as me. So I'm kind of dictating what he needs to pick up and use for his bases as well. But I'll probably film a tutorial on the AK Interactive stuff. So this, I've just kind of sculpted some, because I had to take off the Custodes bits and pieces. I'll do some better photos at some point. But you can barely, you know, I've sculpted some robes so it flows a little bit better. And I've bought from the Forge World stand the White Scar helmets, because they look really cool. Nice one, Stewie. Nice one. Start drinking right now. And I bought the White Scar shoulder pads, which I don't know how I'm going to get on now because I've already glued that shoulder pad. That's the arm from the Dark Vengeance set. Anyway, that's my 40k project. I really want to do a White Scar Primaris army, and I don't know whether to use these as normal Space Marine bikers or to use them as attack bikes, because they're flipping huge. So I was figuring, like, you know, they've got like boltery things on the front, and I could just use that as an attack bike with a heavy bolter. It's massive. If they ever release Primaris bikers, jobs are good and I've got it. If not, then I'll just use it as a attack bike. And I'm hoping this dude can actually snap. Oh, yeah, there we go. Look at that. He actually snaps off. And I had to sculpt just the part of his hand which goes to the handle on the bike itself. So it's all modular. I've also started trying to make a curved blade. It's not great. I mean, I'm making that out of 2 little bits of plastic card. I'm not great at making weapons, but it's the best I can do at the minute. I might try and do some green stuffing on it, so it works pretty cool. That's where I'm at with my 40k army. But I have got the Astreus, the big massive 4-drawer tank. So depending on how I get on with these White Scar bikes and the painting of them and things like that, I may use the Astreus for that. We'll talk about the next thing I bought in a minute. So, Tom Wilson, check out the AK Puddles stuff if you are doing Swamp Ape. Oh, Tom, thank you for the heads as well. They arrived. I think I did reply to you. I'm sure I replied to you. So thank you very much again, though. Check out the AK Puddles stuff if you're doing Swamp Bases. My tests turned out okay. Oh, there's more stuff. I need AK Puddles now. Okay, I will. Peninsula painting projects. I would have loved to get the limited edition miniature. If that was the Salute one, so that came in a nice little box, and it's like 3 dudes sharing a canteen. Probably better if I just show you the picture in the book. Where are you? There's a big picture of it. So 3 dudes sharing a bottle, and then there's a painted example. Really nice. Joe, welcome Joe. So Scott, did you see Laser Cut Terrain? Yes, we did. So we looked around, we had a good chat with, because we've got the studio set up, Evan, who does the Laser Cut Terrain, has done an awesome job on that scenery. And it's like MDF, we've got videos coming out soon. Phil's got 2 big boxes of the Laser Cut Terrain, which he's currently building and doing videos on to showcase this stuff. And Evan's done a really good job to make a proper quality, you know, a premium MDF business, basically. They're doing some amazing scenery, and it's not, at first I thought they were sticking the stuff onto it as well, so like the texture and things like that, but it's all painted. So it's this amazing scenery MDF that's really lightweight, easy to put together. Well, say easy to put together. Some of it's easier to put together than other bits, but it's very modular, and some of it can be built like the compound out of Starship Troopers. You could use it for, like, if you're paying 40k, you could have a 4x4 board and then have a section of this laser cut terrain stuff as like the entrance into a spaceship or something, or a Tau Manta. You could effectively fight on the inside of a Manta and use this to represent that. You could use it for Zone Mortalis if you wanted to. You could create corridors, or even just use some of them as walls and scenery to stagger across the battlefield. So the scenery can be used for a lot of stuff, but it's pre-painted, and I think you might be able to get it unpainted, but he's done a very good premium product. So when it's coming out on Kickstarter, I don't know if it's out now, I don't think it is, we'll be definitely releasing a video to show people who haven't seen it the quality of it. He's also got the LED, it's not LED, but it's like this really thin plastic which has got lights, so it lights up, so you can have the flooring all lit up, which is amazing for stuff like Tau or Infinity or any sort of futuristic game, AVP if you're playing that. But you know, it's really cool stuff, so we'll definitely be doing more with Evan on that. And another one was Osprey Games, because they're working really hard releasing the Frostgrave and the Ghost Archipelago. I can never pronounce it. I'm never gonna get it right. And Spectre as well, as I've already said. So we've got the studio space now, and we're kitting it out over the next 3 weeks. We're properly making a push to do the second studio the same as what we've got in the first one, so that we can film battle reports, but we can also have companies over and they can display their products at the studio. So they can bring their demo boards, they can do a live Q&A, or we can pre-record a chat with them where somebody can talk about the game while somebody else is playing it. So like 2 people from a company can come down. One person can show me the game and how it works. The other person can sit with Phil at a desk and they just kind of talk over what we're doing on the game. And we've been just chatting to some of the companies at Salute today, just really saying, look, we've got this studio, you want to showcase your game, you know, speak to us. Because we already, you know, Pete at Osprey has been really good to send us the books ahead of time so that we can do reviews or at least unboxings on them and things like that. And same with Evan. All the companies that get in touch with us have been really good. That, you know, they give us the products, we do honest reviews on it. We don't say something's amazing if we don't think it is. If it is and we think that it's useful for the people who watch our videos, then we obviously talk about it. But, you know, they'll be good for some people and not great for others, and we just do our talking about it. But it enables them to get their product showcased to people who may not see it for whatever reason. So it's always good for us to do that. Banana and cinnamon porridge. That sounds all right. I don't know why that's come in, Coleman. Oh, busy in the kitchen. Fair enough. Ian, I look for something for my jungle theme nids for the bases. Okay, well, Ian, if these work out, if the, you know, what I'm doing for my bases works out, it might help you out with the Tyrannid bases. If you've got any cool stuff that you find, let me know as well. I saw Graham as well. Graham, I think it was Graham Rigg at the end of Salute. I didn't speak too much. I was too busy chatting to the other guys, so I apologise about that, Graham. I was pretty tired by the end, and we were going to go, and you caught us right at the end. But I hope you had a good day as well. Scott, your conversion looks great. Cheers, Scott. I mean, the way that I've done it is, well, we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping I can produce them and do a whole army of White Scar Primaris bikers, because it would be looking really cool. I'll show you my next project in a minute, which is my Age of Sigmar one. And I'm really excited to do it, whether it works out or not. I hope it blooming does, because I've put everything into it now. This is the next Doubles tournament army, and instead of the Stormcast, I'm taking this one instead. We'll talk about that in a moment, though. Marty, I have to say I really like the setup for the last premium bat rep with Mike. Very smooth and great to watch. Well, that was, I mean, Phil said he didn't do really any editing on it. He tried to keep it as minimal as possible and almost did it as like an uncut battle report where he just chucked it up, and it was 1 hour and 45 minutes. And it's some bits, you know, we'd probably cut out in future, because like when I'm doing my deployment, you know, we normally don't record the deployment phase because it takes so long. But with my Beastmen, the Bray Herd, their deployment is effectively in the first movement turn. So the first 15 minutes of that game was me doing my deployment in the movement phase. I think we'd probably cut things like that out in future just to make it faster. We know that there's some issues with the focusing on the cameras, because every time we reset the computer, it resets the focus and things like that. So the quality of the video isn't as good. But we're just doing these sort of tests to see how quickly we can get them filmed, edited and put out. And also to see what we can improve on, because we always try to improve where we're going with stuff. And you know, because the edit's quicker to do, we can put other things into the battle reports as well, and we can also get people trained up to do the filming and editing, because it's not as much of a mission with the setup we've got at the moment. You can basically film a game with this current setup that we've got, and somebody just switches between the scenes. It's that simple. We've got it set up now so that we can get somebody to sit down, show them how it all works, and they can basically do the editing while we're filming the battle report. It requires an extra person to be there to film the game, because they're basically doing all of the switching of scenes and audio and things like that. But it means somebody doesn't have to go back and do a 10 to 15 hour edit on it, because the normal edit that I did, I have something like 6 or 7 cameras. You have to link them all together in a multicam clip, and then synchronize everything. You get the audio working. Then you have to cut all of them up to time, and you have to drop in and drop out and switch between the scenes, and it's just a lot of effort. With this one, you literally go scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, scene 1, scene 2, scene 5. You just keep skipping between whichever scene you want. And we'll get better at that, and we'll get faster at it, and we'll know when to turn the scenes over and stuff. But hopefully with practice we'll get better at it, and there'll be more battle reports. And we've also got more armies on the way, which is pretty good, so you don't keep seeing the same things. I've moved my Ungors, but I'm trying to do the next 20 of my Ungors for my game against Rachel. On my birthday, which is, if anybody's around on the 1st of May, it's a Tuesday. We'll be doing, because it's my 30th birthday, it's going to be a bit more of a special one. I normally just stay in and watch a film and have a takeaway with Rachel. That's generally what I do, but I figured we will go to Phil's and we're going to play a battle report for the channel. Me versus Rachel, because they're always good. They're always proper grudge matches. And I'm going to be bringing the Bray Herd against her Seraphon. So I really want to get the Ungors built, well, painted, because I think I'm going to be at a disadvantage if I bring the Jabberslith and the Chariot again, because they kind of just turn up and wave and then die. So I want to switch them out for Ungors, so I can at least shoot something with some toothpicks beforehand. Alistair. I eat Gamley. It's not too bad. Don't worry about it. I've still got to talk about my new army that I'm doing and get your feedback on it and see what you lot think. Marty, very effective, I think, if it didn't take so much editing. I mean, the current setup, the battle reports, is getting used to... Well, getting it all set up is the difficult part. And Phil's been amazing at setting all of that up and testing it. And, you know, when I was around with him last time, I said, is there anything we can do with the score, you know, the little scoreboard we've got? And in the last game that you probably saw with me and Mike, that was like 5 minutes before the game, Phil quickly went, yeah, we can do this, this and this. And we just kind of jimmied it together so that you could see whose turn it was and how many points they got and stuff like that. And since then, there's been a new image layout, so it's inset behind the frame. So that's already been improved. Stewie, I'm talking. Oh man, this rabbit. Anyway. He's distracting me as well. Yeah, we've improved on the scoreboard and things like that. So it looks really good now. And just little tweaks like that we can improve over time. But in terms of the actual editing, it's a lot quicker. Phil said he edited one of them in like an hour and a half. So an hour and a half game, he edited in an hour and a half by just going through it really quickly. Smog's Wrath. Hail, I liked the intro in the Skaven Beastman bat rep. Would like to see more of that. Oh, that's good. Was it the... As in the army lists we went over? Because we just sat in front of the camera and went through our army lists. We could do more of those as well. We know that some people like the longer intros where you go through what you want to do, what you plan, your army list and why you took stuff. And we can do that sort of thing, no problem. But we know that also some people just like to get straight into seeing us roll dice and bicker. And I'm really good at bickering, especially when I'm against Mike or Rachel or Phil or Liam, anyone, Patrick as well. Everybody, actually. I'll bicker with everybody. Because it's the dice rolls, the amount of dice rolls people get. They're like, I just need a 6. Oh, roll a 6. Got it. Of course you did. I just need to get anything other than a 1. I roll a 1. You know how salty I get. I should have had my own custom dice. We've got some new WGO dice. They look amazing. And I'm trying to find the colour which is closest to salt. We should have just got some white dice with like little dots all over them. That would have been good for some salt dice just for me. Some special salty dice. But I'm happy you enjoyed that battle report. Because we're going to keep improving them. And that was a lot less... I mean, me and Mike just got on with the game. And... it was really fast to play. It was brilliant. So we'll do more of those. Marty, well, one of the important things with are you happy with it? If that's in relation to the battle reports, I'm quite happy with it. I think when we get the studio set up, it'll be easier for whoever's switching the scenes to do it as well, because we'll have the table looking towards the battle so that they can keep an eye on it. God, Stewie, he's looking at me as well. He's drinking and then he's going, I see you talking, and then carries on drinking. Kiblam's gotta love broadcasting software. I couldn't handle editing videos anymore now. Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is I've filmed the latest painting tutorial that I've done is for one of my Ungors, and it's just a quick tabletop standard Ungor model that I'd painted to try and get them done quickly. And I filmed that using OBS instead of the normal camera setup that I do. And I've got to edit it still, but it's got the wet palette in. And I think the wet palette takes up too much of the screen. So I'm going to go back and try and do a different, you know, an alternative way of doing it. But we'll see. Dervimus Maximus, 30th. Welcome to being too old. Oh, don't turn off. Too old to be young and too young to be old. Yeah, I'm going to be in that mid bracket. 30. I can't believe I'm 30. That's just flown by. I still feel like I'm 18, but no, apparently I'm 30 and I've got to be an adult. I should have been an adult for like the last at least 5 years, but I feel like I've finally got to be an adult. Peninsula Painting Projects. I'm 30 on the 27th of April. Oh, there we go. I'm not alone. And Pink is 30 on the 30th of April. So that's 3 of us within a few days. So we can make a 30th club. Ralph, go for a good birthday, kiddo. Cheers, Ralph. I'll probably be on the stream. I'll probably be on the live hangout afterwards. Oh, and I apologise actually, because you've been doing live chats. You've been doing the hangouts, and we've had the plumbers in for the last 4 days putting the boiler in. Finally, you know, I've been waiting for 3 months for this. They did a really good job. They properly made it, you know, I'm not going to go too much into boiler talk because we're talking about wargaming, but it's been 3 months where I've been waiting for this to be fixed. So the shower was fixed, and they did all the boiler, and they did a great job on that, getting the gas pipe in and stuff. And it was all because the shower wasn't working, and so that we had a bit of extra room to get rid of the cylinder and the stuff in the loft. And they'd done after 4 days, and I was like, finally I can have a shower. Turned the shower on, and it didn't work. And basically the shower had all clogged up, and the filters that were in there weren't working. And yeah, we've still got that to sort. So now the shower works. We've got heat coming out of it because they unblocked all of that. But there's leaks coming from the bottom of the shower. And I don't care anymore. At least I can actually shower, and there's creaking all over the pipes, but I don't care anymore. The house is just, I've given up worrying about it. But that's why I haven't been on the hangouts, Ralph, because I've been just having the plumbers around most of the day. And in the evening, Rachel's home and we just chill out. Right, Scott Byle is saying, I'm getting a GW store in my area in the next month or so. What was it like when you worked for them? It was amazing working for Games Workshop. There's positives and negatives. As a store manager, it was difficult sometimes because like I hit targets for 2 years, and then as soon as I didn't hit targets, there's a lot of pressure to hit those targets, even though you've got to keep hitting, you've got to keep performing. And if you overperform in the first year, like by a lot, because they expect you to increase by a bit, and I did a lot better in the first year, and I should have really just crept. I should have just done the bare minimum to get by and hit the target. So the next year it was easier, and the next year it was easier. But what I did was just try and do as well as I could, build a community, get loads of people in the store and get them buying what they wanted and create a community, which is what I did. And for 2 years it was awesome because people came in and we had an amazing store. But then it got difficult because you had to keep performing, you had to keep beating that target. And it got to the point where it was just very difficult to beat the target and nothing was released. And as soon as you get to that bit of pressure, it's very difficult because you end up, you know, you get your managers down and they expect you to just pull money from nowhere and get customers from nowhere and things like that. And I know that managers struggle when they have a lot of pressure because they just see customers as wallets. They just see a customer coming in and they think, oh, I've got to make 30 quid off you. And that's what some managers do. And they switch off from the hobby side of things and they do it more as a sales role, which is why, well, not I say a sales role, they do it more as a, what do you want to buy? Tell me what you want to buy, give me your money, and that's it. And that's where you get some reports of stores being just all about buying, you know, taking money off customers, which is what you do in a sales job. But the way that I know it worked really well for me as a manager and as customers is I literally just talk to customers about their hobby and they buy what they want. So there's no nagging or anything like that. There's no pressure to buy anything. You've got an open hobby store which you can bring people into the hobby, get them addicted, because it will happen. I mean, you're addicted as a manager yourself, and you just provide the area. So you've got boards that people can play games on. You've got an environment where people know they can come to and play games and meet up with other hobbyists. And you can give people advice on gaming, on painting, on collecting the armies. And that's what you're there as a manager for. You're a facilitator and you're able to sell stuff that people want for their armies. That's pretty much all you need to do as a manager. And obviously, you've got certain things you can do for that. You can do events like army building projects or competitions, anything like that. But as soon as it becomes targeting customers, or you know, you're looking at a customer as just a walking wallet that you need to take money for to hit your targets, that's when it gets difficult. So it depends on the manager how they react to that, and that's pretty much it. If you get the right manager, it can be an amazing place to go to. If you get the wrong manager, it can just be very difficult to go and do hobby. I know when I ran it, the store was very busy. We had a lot of people in doing projects. We had an amazing heresy campaign where we redid the heresy and split sides, and a lot of the customers bought GW stuff. So rather than going to Forge World, which didn't help my store targets, they all bought 40k models. So they bought Space Marines and Space Marine tanks, and they converted them to use them in a Heresy era side of things. So it helped the store out, and they did that to help me out as a manager. But they also got cool models, and they were cheaper than buying the Forge World. And I ran a huge campaign alongside that, which was like traveling across the galaxy. There was 2 teams. We picked sides, so you might have like Horus being the War Master, obviously, and then we split the 2 sides, so no player was able to take a duplicate Primarch or a captain, and we made it so that there was 2 players for each legion. So I played Sigismund for the Imperial Fists, and Steve played Dawn for the Imperial Fists. And I also did a separate one. I did the Night Lord. So Rory, who's on the Warhammer community, you see him quite a lot now, Rue. I was playing Comrade Kurz, and he played Sevatar. So between me and him, we covered the Night Lords. Between me and Steve, we did the Imperial Fists. But each person had their own Primarch or their first captain, which led their army. And we did this really cool Heresy campaign, but we didn't do it following the Heresy. So Dawn could have gone on to the Traitors, and Sigismund could have gone on to the Traitors, depending on what the War Masters did and what the I forgot what we called it. Basically, they pick sides. You know, like you're in school and you're picking teams for your football team, and you had all of the players, all of the Primarchs and all of the first captains and captains lined up, and whoever the War Master was would say, right, I'm going to pick Dawn. Dawn's on my side, so that would then go to the Traitors. Then the good side got to pick somebody, and we formed the teams like that, and it was amazing. And loads of people bought stuff. I didn't do any sort of pressure in, and it was just a really good environment. And then we did like an Age of Sigmar thing, and 8th edition campaign at the time as well. It's just good. If you get the right manager, you'll be absolutely loving it, and that's pretty much the best way I can say it can go. Oh, I've been talking too long. Big Rich just was priming some servitors for my Tech Marine for my Dark Angels army. That's cool. We saw, actually, you know, where is it? High Tech Miniatures, these guys. They've got some really nice Terminator robed legs that we saw that were perfect for Dark Angels. Derfamus, it is possible you could timestamp the various bits so people can skip going over the lists if they want to. Yeah, I think that's definitely something we can do. At least put it in the description. On the website, it's a little bit different to YouTube, but we could put it into the description for that. And oh, we did experiment in the past. We did like a full battle report, and then we split it down into the quicker version of it. But I think timestamps is definitely the way to go, Derfamus, so we'll probably follow that as well. Ian Stanford, whereabouts are you based? We're based in Leamington Spa, so it's Warwickshire, or right next to Warwick, basically. It's fairly central. We're fairly close to everywhere in the UK, unless you're up in Scotland. I know Derfamus is up there, but fairly close. I mean, London, we got to the Excel Arena in 2 hours, so it's only a 2-hour drive to the Excel, which was really good. We can get to Warhammer World in an hour and a half, an hour if Phil's driving. It's not far from anywhere. Marty just turned 36. It's okay, Marty. You don't look 36, so something's obviously going right. Daryl, how are you getting on with your Chronicles? I finished the second texture layer on my Forge Fiend, so literally waiting on paint drying. My Chronicles, okay, so I'm doing what I normally do. I'm biting off more than I can chew. I've got the White Scar army, which I want to do, which is these bikes, and they're currently still on the prep stage where I've got to green stuff a load of bits, but that's my 40k army I want to do to start doing some battle reports, and I think having White Scars tazzing around the battlefield killing things will be cool. My second army was going to be Stormcast, which I was doing for Chronicles, and I've built everything except for my Gryph-hounds and a Lord Relictor, I think it is. I think it's something Relictor. It's basically a dude with a big axe or a hammer. It's not the Castellan, but it's a similar pose. And I thought I had a model, but I don't. So I've got to go and pick up one of those. I've got the Castellan, and I need the Relictor instead, because he's cooler and he can dispel wizards. So I need to pick up one of those for the list. So that's the Stormcast. But everything in that army, everything in that bit that I've built is ready. However, this new list, I'll go through the chat and then I'll talk about this new one which I'm doing for the Chronicles. And I still need some bits. I need some ideas. I've got to work out the fluff in the background because it's a bit of an alternative one. But I like, you know what I'm like with converting things and doing things different. I want to make this work because I think it could be cool. And some of the stuff doesn't make sense and other stuff I don't care about, but we'll talk about that in a moment. Ralph, don't worry, Sam. You don't get to be an adult until you hit the big 4-0. Oh, I've got 10 more years soon then. That's good. My youngest was building his new Blood Angel Dante and Mephiston tune. That's cool. I love the Blood Angels. I've never done them because everyone, Pink and Steve both do Blood Angels, so I've never done them. Ian's 39 next month. Happy birthday then, Ian. Durfmus 37 in July. Aging is terrible and I blame the concept of time. Big Rich is 52. We've got a good, I mean, the ages, when we look at the analytics, they are between, I think, 18 and 60 is our viewer base. And there's a huge portion between 25 and 35. And then there's another huge portion between, I think it might even be 25 to 50 is our age range for people who watch this channel, which is quite cool. And I know Phil, Hobby Dad, he's got a lot of viewers as well, which are all varied ages. I've got the same, which is, it's just really nice to meet a bunch of people as well that are all different age ranges, all enjoying the same hobby, which is just fantastic. I think it's good that you can bring out or have a hobby where so many people from all different ages and stuff that can be included with it. It's brilliant. Big Mech Dan School, I think I might put a list together for my Heresy Thousand Suns tonight for WGO Chronicles 2018 once I've had enough of working on my Prospero Pyramid. That would be really cool, Dan School. Writer Sophie Stevens, hi, all retail work. Know the feeling of trying to beat target and meet quotas. You have my sympathy. Well, I don't have it anymore because I left Games Workshop to set up this channel, and obviously Rachel's been really supportive and making the money to enable me to do this, which is a bit of a dream, really. Being able to do a channel and not have to go to a day job is definitely amazing. But it is obviously quite stressful as well, because Rachel's doing her best to bring in the money and I'm basically painting toy soldiers and doing battle reports and reading fluff and background. So I do feel bad sometimes. But yeah, 10 years of retail. I worked in game before Games Workshop and then moved to Games Workshop, and it was amazing. And I love the hobby, but the target side of things just kind of killed a lot of the love for the job. The job was amazing. The people that were in the store were amazing. It was such a good place to work. And everybody that I still speak to are from the store. You know, with Liam used to be, well, everybody is a customer. Matt Pink, Steve, Liam, Phil, Jack, Dave, Mike, literally everybody that you lot know, part of Wargamer Online, used to be a customer at Games Workshop. So that shows you how well everybody got on, because they're literally all on board with Wargamer Online and helping out and like Pink and, well, everybody, they've all helped out so much over the last year or so that we wouldn't have been able to do it without all of that help. And it's just amazing that you can have a hobby store. Imagine working in any retail environment where your customers would become extremely good friends and would help you out so well. You wouldn't get that in any other hobby. So it's just amazing, and it shows how good it is. Ralph's got to go. See you later, Ralph. And saying please like and subscribe and check out the forum as well. I know we're going to do a forum check later on in the week on Chronicles. I think we'll probably do it on Wednesday. I think maybe me and Phil potentially will be able to do a show together, because Phil will do his Monday Musing, and I think on Wednesday we may do a joint show with the two of us. I haven't spoke to him about it yet, but I'm sure he'll be up for it. And we'll go through the forum and the Facebook and have a look at everyone's Chronicles. So if people can get on the forum and update their threads ready for next Wednesday, do it anyway because it's cool. But I'm going to do my best to get Phil on board to have a look through that with me on Wednesday. Smarty, I used to hate walking into the GW store here. Would always get pounced upon with the guys trying to sell me everything. I hated that. Just wanted to look and take my time to pick something. Exactly, yeah. But I do understand they were under pressure to meet targets. Just feel it had a negative effect for me. I spent my money online. Exactly, and that's it's down to the managers more than anything. And some of the managers are amazing. Some of them just care about money and meeting targets. Other ones don't care about making money and literally just sit down and don't do anything. So they just do their hobby rather than treating it as a store. And I think it's a balancing act between being a little bit chilled out and allowing customers to do what they want, but also facilitating what they want to buy and talking to them about the hobby, getting them excited about their armies and projects and getting them. I mean, I can go into a hobby store now and I'll sell everything to myself. My only limitation is whether Rachel's going to shout at me when I get home with spending money. So it really doesn't take much to push hobbyists into buying stuff. And I know that all of you lot are the same, like the shelves of shame and the cupboards of shames and the wardrobe and the house of shame, you know, when you just fill your house with Warhammer. it's not difficult to sell to people in this hobby because the products are so good and the ideas are just constantly flowing. You want to keep making new armies. So as long as you can facilitate that as a manager, people will buy stuff. If you're literally saying buy, no one's going to buy anything from you, and they're just going to go away because they don't want the hassle. So I think it's just being there and having a good environment for them to come to, and knowing that they can come into the store, and if they just want to chat to you for 10 minutes about what they're doing on their project, that doesn't mean that you have to literally lynch them, take the wallet and take whatever money they've got left. They'll come to you and they'll buy something. So that's it. Sounds like a great campaign, Peninsula. Yeah, that was the Heresy one. It was really good. I'd love to do it again now, and I think we've talked about it a few times. Until they change the rules for Heresy, we won't be doing it. But potentially, and we may just do a 40k or a Sigmar campaign, which is like that. We've got enough people now. We could probably get a few more involved and plan out a proper campaign. But we don't want to do something willy-nilly. We want to properly, you know, look at it and do a decent campaign. Pink's here. Welcome, Pink. Hey, Pink. Lord Relictor, says Daryl. Yeah, is the one from the starter kit. Has the Holy and Healing Storms. Not that one, then. No, let me check. Lord, I think it's the Lord Veritas. I think it's the Lord Veritant. Let me check. The anti-sorcery one, yeah. It will definitely be that one. Where are you? Leaders. Lord Veritant, yeah, so 120 points. He's got a big staff, sticky thing, and a sword in the air. So that's what I need. God, my throat is still not right talking after a while. All is dust. I think I'm only 30, but it feels like a painting thing always for a decade, and then I realise it's only been a month or so. Daryl, I was close. It's a Lord Veritant, yes. Zangors. Oh, painting Zangors for a decade, yes. Matt saying, cheers, Sam. Pink showed up at the right time. I'm like saying how nice it is to get all the gang helping out with Wargame Online. He's just sitting there. Picks the right moments to come online, don't you, Pink? Pink was horrible in the Heresy campaign. I've got to try and put him down a bit now. Mawson, C. Mawson, I'll be posting some Chronicles images soon, probably on the forum in the next couple of days. Awesome, we'll check those out. Chilling Wargames, hope you had a great day, Sam. Proper gutted I couldn't make it this year. Yeah, it was a shame we didn't see you there. I don't know who this is, whether it's Alstonation or Spud or Steve or Paul. I think Paul was there. But whoever it is, we didn't see you. So that was always a sad moment. And yeah. The only thing that was sadder than not seeing some people was the fact that the subway prices were so expensive. All the food and drink is expensive there. I don't know if it's just because it's London or because it's the XL, but a drink was like £2.50 for some tiny little thing, and the sandwiches were £7 or something. There's no way I'm paying £7 for a sandwich. So I went to Subway and spent more than £7 on a sandwich, like an idiot. Derpimus, a lot of stores are dangerous to walk into for me. It's why I started buying guitar strings and stuff online. Yeah, I need to buy guitar strings, actually. Oh, it's Spud. Hey, Spud. Miss you, Spud. We'll see you soon enough. It's not going to be long until Chilcon Derby, so we'll come over to that and see you. And if anybody is going to Chilcon... Derby is my hometown, actually, or Ilkeston. So if anybody's going to that, I think it's September. We'll be doing videos on that closer to the time, but I know you can pre-order the tickets for Chilcon Derby already, so check out the website for that. And we'll be there. Along with Spudicus, Maximus Aurelius. Marty, Breach is done. First Fire Warrior squad should be done by tomorrow evening. I think I will have earned a shot at one of the battle suits. Definite, Marty. Matthew, Pink, I'll come on more often if you are being so nice about me. I know, I'm going to have to downplay it a bit more, Pink. And did you get the Paladors? Because I sent them with Rachel, 6 of them. I don't know if she's delivered them or if they're still in the car. She hasn't told me. Marty Milligan. Okay, right, cool. Let's talk about my new army idea. Now, this is something that I really liked the idea when they came out. So this is. I know Phil was doing them, but I'm doing them different, and I'm doing them. I'm not waiting 6 months. That is the core of my army. So my army list for 1,000 points. Now, I've looked into the rules. There's nothing in Age of Sigmar saying that you have to, if you don't have anything on the table, you lose the game. If you have nothing left to deploy, or there's nothing off the table that's been deployed, then you lose the game, and otherwise it runs till turn 5 of or whatever the scenario is. Now, taking a certain Skyfleet rules for this army enables me to put, my list is an Endrin Master, which is like a hero choice who heals vessels and has some other cool stuff. I've got 2 units of the Arcanaut, whatever they're called, the only battle line, so 2 units of 10. And I've got a 3-man unit of Endrin Riggers, which basically hold on to the side of the Ironclad. So that's the army list, and obviously the Ironclad, which is a huge amount of points. So all of my army, which is 21 models and the 3 Endrin Riggers, so 24 models, can go into this Ironclad. It slows it down by 1 inch because the maximum capacity is 25. Anything over 20 reduces the movement by 1 inch, but the Endrin Riggers do not count towards that. So it's only 1 extra in the capacity. The Skyfleet I've chosen allowed this vessel to set up in the sky, and I can bring it down at the start of any of my hero phases. The Warcalf just subscribed. I've just realised I've not got sounds on in my ear because I have no headphones on. Thank you for subscribing, Warcalf. What was I saying? Yeah, it allows me to set up this unit, this vessel, in the sky and bring it down at the start of any hero phase. Now, the whole army is 1 drop. I deploy this in the sky, that's my army drop done. So I basically will be able to choose who goes first or second in the scenario that we're playing. And depending on what the scenario is, depending on how many units the enemy's got, I can decide to put everything in this in order to get the choice of first or second turn. And clown car, Sam. Yes, it's a clown car, like literally my whole army in one thing. There's positives and negatives to it, but I can decide whether it's better to put everything into this Ironclad or not. And if I say, for example, I make the enemy go first, they get the first turn, there's nothing of mine on the table. So the best they can do is try and stop me being able to deploy in my turn. Otherwise, they've got nothing to shoot or magic at. They basically just move around the table and capture objectives. That's their mission. In my first turn, I bring this down more than 9 inches away from enemy units, and the units can deploy and still shoot and still charge. So that is awesome. I think that's going to be a good tactic. It allows me to put my army down wherever it's needed. If it's an objective game like the Scorched Earth, where if enemies deploy on or get onto my objectives and they can raise them, obviously I'm not going to put everything into this Ironclad. I'll put my stuff on those so that they're protected. But it gives me a bit of flexibility of looking at the scenario, the battle plan, and deciding what I want to do with them. Anyway, that's the plan. Now, I don't want dwarves. I know a lot of you are going to go, "Oh, dwarves are amazing," but I don't want dwarves. I gave Phil my entire Fireslayer army because he is dwarves. He's got Caradons. He's got a huge army of Caradons, like over 2,000 points. And I gave him the Fireslayers, one because I didn't want to paint that much skin, and then I went and did Bestigors anyway, which was just as bad, but because he's the dwarf man. Anyway, I wanted to do something different, and I've been watching like Guardians of the Galaxy, Firefly, things like that, and I like the idea of sky pirates and space pirates and stuff like that. There's not enough humans in Age of Sigmar, or there is, but they're kind of like in frilly little underwear and stuff, and I'm not bothered about that. I wanted to do a human faction, and I decided to do a human Skyfleet. And I haven't worked out the story. The background can be anything. It's Age of Sigmar, so you can basically, I mean, there's flying skyships and squids floating around space and stuff. You can do what you want. But the ideas I've got are, one, they're basically full-on pirates where they just stole an Ironclad, they commandeered it, and they're basically going around either killing or doing bounty hunting or trading or whatever it is they want to do as bounty hunters or mercenaries. The other option is something like they're still working with the Skyfleet, and I've chosen Barak Zidir or Vidir or something like that. I'll find out what it is exactly. They still work with that overall Skyfleet, but they're a human faction version of it. Now that could be that there was a dwarf, because the way that the Caradon Overlords are is they collect up all the loot and the rare materials, they take them back to the Skyfleet, and they basically pitch in so much and they get something out. And I could have done it where like the dwarf who was in charge of this Ironclad went back and kept some of the stuff for himself and didn't actually give it to the overall Caradon Overlord. So he was cast out, or maybe he was shunned upon and they were like, well, you're not really part of the Overlords anymore. And he went out and collected his own crew, which were humans, or, you know, there's plenty of different things. It could have been just that there was a dwarf that crewed his ironclad with humans and the dwarf died, and the humans just carried on as they were and carried on recruiting from their human ranks and friends. There's so many different ways I could include the human race into the Caradon Overlord. So that's the idea behind the background, and I want to do them. I'm going with Patrick to the tournament, and I'll be doing these and he'll be doing Sylvaneth. So I was thinking I'll do swamp bases or foresty tree bases, and they could work for the Sylvaneth for many different reasons. It could be that the Sylvaneth have got a rare artifact to give them. It could be that they owe the Sylvaneth, and they're very, you know, the Caradon Overlords are very much about contracts and keeping their word. They're good at trading as well as they are at combat. So maybe they owe the Sylvaneth a debt. Maybe the Sylvaneth have promised them all of the riches and rewards for the fact that they work with them. There could be many reasons, but whatever. So that's the idea. I need to convert this. In terms of the figurehead at the front of the ship, I want to do something other than this dwarf thing. And I was thinking if they used to have a dwarf captain, it could be like a statue version of him, like strapped to the front. It could be a giant bloodthirster face. You know, it doesn't have to be a bloodthirster, but I'm trying to decide what's best for a figurehead. Something really big that could even wrap around the back of the ship here, but like sticks out the front of this and looks really cool and dramatic and nasty. So that's what I want to do. I've got bits of wood and balsa wood and plastic and things. I need to try and make it a bit more adapted to humans, because they're not as good as dwarves at making technology and engines and things like that. So I wanted to humanify this a little bit and make it like it is properly looked after by humans and not as up to scratch as the dwarf sky fleets. Then I needed to figure out what crew I was going to use, and I was looking through all the models, and the first thing that I thought, well, these are like perfect, Mad Max style guy stuck on the front, perfect, is the Orlok gang. And I know a lot of you are going to be going, but Sam, they're Necromunda, they're not fantasy. The models are great. There is a dude here, so they've got sky hooks, the Caradon Overlords do. I'm going to use these as sky hooks. They're basically grappling hooks that are attached to big powered weapon things, and I'm going to have 3 of those in each 10-man unit just because they're cool. Oh, there's a bigger version up there. Oh, there. Now, I still need to try and get them as WYSIWYG as possible. They're obviously not in the armour, and they've not got the same weaponry as the normal, what do you call it, dudes? Caradon Overlords, but they've got a similar sort of style. You know, they've got these shoulder pads. I could paint the chest pieces up as metal. Some of them have got these gas masks. They've all got these sort of robes. They look like they could quite easily pass as sky pirates, and that's what I really liked about them. There should be enough pistols and close combat weapons in the box to represent them as having pistols and close combat weapons, which is what the Caradon Overlords have got. And then some of the characters have got, I could do them with different weapons as well. The leader of the unit has got this giant servo claw, and my Endrin Master is going to have a giant harness, and I want to do 2 servo claws or something like a harness, a giant harness which is attached to the back of him, and he will be the Endrin Master for the unit. So what I've done is I've got 3 boxes of the Orloks. Today I also picked up a Escher gang, because I thought, you know, why not mix it up and have some females in there as well as males? And the worry that I had was the Caradon Overlords are in these big metal suits because they're flying up into the really high reaches of the clouds, so they need these gas masks or face masks and to seal their body so they don't just die. Don't know a way around that. Potentially, it's fantasy, so I don't care. The other option is they just don't go as high. They don't go back up to the Sky Fleet. They kind of roam around the realms. That's why they're going to have the swamp bases. They almost hover or settle closer to land, so it's more dangerous for them, but they don't go up into the skies like the rest of the Sky Fleets do. So there's ways around it, but it would allow me to use things like this without having to have them all with suits on and all of them having gas masks. Excuse me. The other option is I just say that they're all inside the ironclad, the ones that are, you know, not in these suits and they don't have the gas masks, and when they're out on the battlefield they've got their war gear or whatever on. So I want to mix those, the Escher gang, and I want to mix up the Orloks. I've got a box, only one box of these at the minute, which is the Sky Riggers, because I still want to have these Caradron Overlord parts. Now, I was debating on picking up a box of the Arcanauts anyway to get some of the Dwarf steampunk aesthetic in there, but it's like another 20-25 quid for a box of 10, and I'm only going to be taking bits off them, so I'm unsure yet. I might do it, I might not. I don't know if I need to, but there might be some enough bits in here to chop up and change them. So I'm really quite excited to start these. This will be my Chronicles army. The other option is I've got a bunch of bits over there. Heads, you all know that I always like get heads and have a little collection of them. The Skitarii heads, the metal ones that are like the Fallout shelter, the Fallout heads. I'm thinking of using those as well. So they're like just tin helmets that they put onto the head. So the ones that are out on the like the Orlocks, they're on the top of the ship. They have these giant tin suits that they walk around in. So it's similar to the Caradron Overlords, but not as nice and ornate looking. They're just tin helmets that they stick on so that they can go up into the atmosphere. I think that would be one way around it. But obviously you don't get the really cool sculpts and work that they've done on the Orlock gangs themselves. So that's why I was against it, because I wanted it to be the rule of cool rather than anything else. Now, the only thing is I need it to be all GW parts. I don't know if they're going to allow it at the tournament. I hope so, because it's, you know, it's going to cost more money than just buying the Overlords and chucking them into an army list. I want to do a good job converting them, making it something different, having a human faction, which is using the rules of this. And I'm going to do a lot of work, but it has to be GW parts. So I'm trying to find the best place to buy something for a figurehead. So Marty said Mad Max style guy stuck on the front. I don't know how big it's going to have to be, because the Ironclad is quite big. And that was one of the possibilities. I have got this set of skulls, and I was thinking I could make them look really dark and piracy based, with skulls stuck around the ship and dead bodies hanging off, and make them look like really evil Ravager pirate things. Not sure yet, but we'll see. I know somebody just said dragon as well. Derpimus said make the figurehead a winged stormcast that's just been run into and plastered over the front, like a fly, just splat. Bow or whatever, yeah. I apologise about this coughing. I know it's not good to listen to. I can't talk for more than an hour, it seems, without coughing my guts up. Ian just sent me some pictures of the NIDs on Messenger. I'll take a look at those, Ian. Matt Pink, love that idea. You should magnetise the figurehead so you could swap it over. That's a good idea. Although, you know, I'm lazy. I'll just stick it on and paint it, and that'll be it. Scott Bile says do a huge dragon head for the front of your ship. See, I was thinking of, I need something big enough. I mean, there's some amazing models from Forge-World, but there's no way I'm getting a Forge-World model just to rip the head off and stick it to the ship. I could potentially press mold it and put it, you know, make a copy of it, but I don't know whether that will be the best way to do it. I need to look at what bits I've got. I've kind of gone through everything, and I haven't got any big monstrous sort of things that will work as a figurehead, so I'm going to have to see. And if not, I'll take a look on some bits websites and see what there is. But depending on what I use as the figurehead, I can name and theme the boat around that. Like obviously if it's like a Manticore or something, that would work pretty good. I don't know, I'll see what I can get. Onslaught, this is going to be amazing. Marty, these are going to look quite cool. Well, it's good that everyone hasn't gone, no, you can't use humans as Caradron Overlords, because I was a bit worried that that was going to happen. Oh, and I've bought 3 units of Orlocks, so I've got enough to do my 2 10-man squads, and then the 3rd unit, obviously mixed with the Escher gang, will be enough to do the 3 engine riggers, the 2 characters that I want as backups, and the crew for the Ironclad itself. So I've got some spare models for that. I'm just going to do a bit of converting. Pink is saying, I've got spare Bloodthirster heads. Yeah, that might work. I need to look at the scale, but it possibly may be something like that. The only thing I was thinking is whether it needed to be like a torso and a head, and then green stuff it into the ship. So it almost looks like some sort of body and head is protruding rather than just a head being stuck on. I think a body and a head will work. They could be from the upper skies as well. The real Sky Dwarves aren't happy with this human crew with their tech. Bard, yes. Yeah, exactly. So they're like forced to live in the under atmosphere, or whatever we could call it. You know, they're kind of proper raiders they can't land, they can't stay around the ground because it's too dangerous. They can't go up into the sky because it's too dangerous. So they've only got so many places to come and go from. I think there's tons of stuff we could do fluff wise. Hi fell hate. Pink saying I've also got a spare Star Drake head. Yeah, that might work, and I could probably sculpt something to make that work. You know what might work if I can get my hands on the Empire. There was like a chariot thing with like a giant griffin sort of, maybe griffins or a Sigmar based. I don't know whether I'm going to go like a pirate based thing or a human faction. I really haven't thought about it. I think I just have to integrate it, whatever I can find, and see how it works. Scott, do a press mold of Rachel's. Oh, maybe the Dreadsaurian. Yeah, I tried doing a press mold, but it's so big that it's difficult to press mold it, and it didn't turn out too well, but I could try and do it again. Big lizard man thingy. Yeah, that's the better name for it. Rory the Dreadsaurian. So yeah, there's tons going on. I need to see what I can do with it, but that is the idea. I think it's pretty cool. I've not seen anybody do it, and I like doing stuff that nobody else does, so that I can at least feel like it's my own unique idea that I've done. And human pirates on the back of Caradron Overlord, or the War Altar of Sigmar. That's it, Derpmus. Maybe something off that. I don't know if it's big enough or not, but I like doing the unique stuff. I have raided Phil's bits box, so I've got some bits in here to use. There are the tusks from the Thunder Tusk. I forgot to pick up the actual head because that was what I was going to use, the stone horn. I think he had a spare one of those, and I forgot to bring it as I went through the bits box. He said, yeah, take this, and I left it like an idiot. So I need to wait till I can get that off him now. What about the Hydra or the Charybdis? It's very piratey. Exactly, yeah. I mean, the Charybdis has got loads of multiple heads. So is the Hydra, I think. It might work, and it could be that you do the heads coming off at different angles. So that could be a potential as well. I need to look through the model range and see what would work. See what the ideal figurehead could be. Maybe I'm spending too much time on the figurehead, but I think it's quite an important part of the ship. It's the front, or the bow. Think outside the box. Exactly, Ian. The War Altar of Sigmar. I have an old lead one, which is a kind of odd pose. That's weird. I can't remember the old lead one. Whatever it would be, I mean, I was thinking I could do a press mold to green stuff it around so I can bend it around the actual front, but we'll see what happens. It's a cool ship as well. It looks amazing. And I'm really looking forward to doing that. It might get absolutely battered in the game, but to be honest, it can't be any worse than Brayherd. We'll see how it goes, and it'll be unique anyway. That's what I was thinking, sort of like a unique, almost Kraken-esque beast. Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. I think something related to sky piracy or the seas, but in the sky, or something related to the human fluff in some way. I think that would be the way to go. So that's it. I think, yeah, we've been going for an hour. We're probably going to go off now because I'm going to keep coughing otherwise, and I know that's going to annoy people. Tomorrow, I have a Troglodon head, I think, Tom says. That might work. I'll have to have a look and I'll let you know, Tom, but possibly I'll steal more bits off you. I'm getting heads turning up. I'm getting all sorts of bits just turning up. Right, Sunday, what's happening tomorrow? Sunday, Phil is possibly doing something. I know he said he was doing something. Oh, I think he's updating the battle report onto the YouTube, but it's not going to be out for a bit now because it's only on premium for a while. Monday, he's got Monday Musing. Wednesday, we're going to try and do a show, I believe, which will be we'll go through the Chronicles and stuff like that and see what all of you have been getting up to with your projects. I don't know when we're filming the next battle report, but we know we're cracking on. We're doing them more regularly now, and I've still got that tutorial to edit, and I'm going to try and do another lore video. Don't know what it's going to be on. It may be the Caradron Overlords, because I'm getting properly stuck into it at the minute. They're really cool. They've got an amazing background with their own code that they all follow, and they all interpret in different ways to help them out. Big Rich is off, and so is Ian. Going to see Ready Player One. I need to see that. It's supposed to be really good and full of Easter eggs, Jack was saying today, actually. Other than that, I will speak to you during the week. If you're on Facebook or on the forum, send messages. I'll have a look. And I'll look forward to seeing all of your work and being inspired by it, as always. Thanks to everybody who's turned up on another Saturday. I do appreciate it when you all come and say hello and have a nice chat to me. And that's why I keep doing it every week, because It's enjoyable, you know, only an hour, but I look forward to my Saturday evenings because I can just come online for an hour and talk to all of you and see all the new people and chat to all of the people who have been following us from the beginning. So it's really good, and I hope you all have a good weekend. Thanks to everyone who's liked the video and shared it. We have had a lot of people sharing things, especially the lore video. The lore video I did on the IDNF has gone really well, to be fair, for the first video for me. Don't do lore videos, and I think it's only over 2,000 views, which is quite big for us. We're not a huge channel. We don't do lots of like new release content or anything, so we don't get the peaks that some channels do, but we do what we do, and I'm quite impressed with how that lore video did, so I'm glad that people liked it. So that's pretty much it from me. I will see you all next week sometime. Have a good weekend, have a good start of the week, and I'll see you later. And I've just got to pile all these boxes away now. My desk is covered in bits. Right, I'll see you later.